Hello, sixth grade. Welcome back to another edition of Teaching Math Online again. We're going to go ahead and get started. I apologize if it's a little bit noisy. We have some construction going on in the background, so I'm going to try to be as loud as I can and make sure that it's clear what we're trying to discuss here. We're going to start on lesson 89, okay, and it is estimating square roots, okay? So we've talked about square roots before, but let's just go over it real quick again. What is a square root? Okay, so we'll start with a pretty simple one. Okay, that's the square root symbol right there, and then you have a 4 inside of it. So what this means right now is we're looking for one number that you can multiply by itself, and it's going to equal the number 4. Okay. And I think we all know that number. That number is going to be 2 because we can multiply it by itself, 2 times 2, and it will equal 4. Okay, so the answer, when the book asks, hey, what's the square root of 4, you would say 2 and circle the answer. Okay, let's just try a little bit tougher one. Okay. Square root of 81. Okay, now this is where you got to start thinking. Obviously, if you have to go through your head, 5 times 5, 25. 6 times 6 is 36. We're getting a little bit closer. Maybe we should jump a little further. 8 times 8, that's 64. And the next one, 9 times 9, obviously is 81. So the square root of 81 is going to be 9. Okay? And let's just talk for a second as well. Okay, you're going to hear these things that are mentioned. They're called perfect squares. Okay, and what a perfect square is, it's are you seeing the pattern yet? The top number, we'll start there. 1 times 1 is 4. Jeez, I'm looking at the 4. I apologize. Hopefully 1 times 1 is not 4. 1 times 1 is 1, okay? 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 5, 6 times 6, 7 times 7. And it just keeps continuing on. 8 times 8, 9 times 9, 10 times 10. So I'll fill in a couple more. 64. And then that's 8 times 8, 9 times 9 is 81, 10 times 10 is 100, 11 times 11 is 121, and 12 times 12 is 144. So these are some examples of perfect squares, okay, because they equal, when you square root these, when you do the square root of these, they come out as a nice whole number, okay? There's no decimals involved, no fractions with it. We can square root every single one of these, and that's going to come out as a nice whole number. Okay, so that's just an example of perfect squares. Now let's go back to lesson 89 and let's start on the examples. We'll go through those, and then we should be able to get going, I think. And again, they're adding on a new section of the building, so I apologize. I hope that's not too noisy in the background. That's just what we got to deal with right now, so we'll make it work. Example 1, it says simplify the square root of 400. Okay, so remember now, the square root means we're looking for a number that's going to equal, I can multiply by itself, that's going to equal 400. Well, we already know before, right? 10 times 10. I'm just trying to get a ballpark, because let's say I don't know it. I'm trying to figure out where I should start my guess at. I know 10 times 10. That's going to equal 100. Okay? So I'm still 10. It's probably a little ways away. Okay? I know if I go, let's just go 50 times 50. I'm trying to narrow it down. So, okay, I can get the right answer. Okay, 2,500, right? So that's way too big. So obviously, it looks like the number that is going to be the square root of 400 should be somewhat closer to the number 10 than it should be the number 50. Okay, because that one, like I said, 2,500 is a lot further away from 400 than the number 100 is. Okay, and what should give this away a little bit is the 4, right? 2 times 2 is 4, so what do you think we should maybe try 20? Okay, and if we do that, and we go 20 times 20, really, when you have zeros at the end like this, all you need to do is put them in and do 2 times 2. And that's 4, okay? So there you can see the square root of 400 is 20. So that's just a little bit how to get, if you don't know what it is at all, or where to start, this is just a good ballpark guess of do the ones you know, and then you can narrow it down to what it is. Okay, so that's example 1. We'll keep going. Example 2 says to simplify, which we just know means answer. Okay, simplify the square root of 625. Okay, and this one might be a little bit more difficult. We already know 20 times 20, that equals 400. That's somewhat close. We're getting closer. Okay, let's just try, instead of doing 20 times 20, let's do 30 times 30. Well, that's 900. We've got it in between the ballpark, okay? And just like the last time in the square root of 400, the 4, how do we equal 4? 2 times 2. Well, if we look at this, I'm thinking, hey, how do we equal a 25? Now, I know 5 times 5 equals 25. So maybe we tried 20, we tried 30. I think we should try 25. And let's see what happens there. Okay. 5 times 5. Put your 0 for your next row. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. And there we have it. There is our answer, 625. Okay, so that's just a little bit of how to kind of break down the bigger numbers when you're looking for a perfect square, right? Because the number 625 is a perfect square. It comes out nice and even with the answer of 25. Okay? You can just see it real quick again. And we'll go on to example 3. Okay, now example 3 is a little bit different. This one says, between which 2 consecutive whole numbers is the square root of 20? Let's just repeat that again. Between which 2 consecutive whole numbers is the square root of 20? Now, it's not asking for what is the square root of 20. It's not asking for that. It's saying between which 2 numbers. So there again, like if we go and say, hey, square root of 20, we're not going to get a nice even answer like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. But let's just take a look. Let's just see here. 3 times 3, 9. 4 times 4, 16. And 5 times 5 is 25. So now when you read this question again, I'm going to read it one more time. It says, between which 2 consecutive whole numbers is the square root of 20? Well, I think we just found that out right here. The square root of 20, if we were to type it in on a calculator and get an exact decimal answer, it's going to line up somewhere between the whole numbers of 4 and 5. Okay, so the answer for this is between 4, and 5. Okay? So this is just a little bit more introduction. It's to square roots. Well, we've done this stuff before. So hopefully that helps. And again, if you have any questions, again, we do Wednesdays and Thursdays for a question and answer session. Okay, and hope to see you there. So have a good one.